This lesson will expand a topic you've been learning about for years, the order of operations, this order that mathematicians use to ensure we get the same answer when we see the same problem. So, in the order of operations, a review is you want to first perform any operations that are within your grouping symbol. So anything that's parentheses, brackets, above and below a fraction bar, that also counts. Second, you'd want to simplify your exponents and your roots. Third, you multiply and divide, and you do this in order from left to right. Whatever comes first in the problem you do, even if it's divide before multiply. And then four, you add and subtract, and at the same time, you go from left to right. So there are a lot of ways people remember this. Probably the most popular one is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So just, if you haven't heard that before, the P stands for parentheses, E for exponents, my dear, multiply and divide, Aunt Sally, add and subtract. There are a lot of other ways people use to remember it, but I just thought I'd be remiss if I didn't share that with you. All right, we're going to work out a few pretty tough problems using the order of operations. The first one is this. The quantity 3 minus 6 squared minus 12 divided by 6 times negative 4. So on these problems, you're not allowed to use a calculator. You have to show your steps. So the first thing I want to look for is all my parentheses. And in this case, it shows me that 3 minus 6, I need to solve that. It's in parentheses. This negative 4 at the end, it is in parentheses, but there's nothing in there to solve. Negative 4 is already solved, so we don't need to worry about it yet. So 3 minus 6 is negative 3. And what I'd like you to do is just carry down the rest of the problem after the part that you've already done. This helps you keep track of your work, keep it neat, etc. Then you want to look for the next step. In here, we have no more parentheses that need anything done to them, need any problem solved. So we're going to move on to exponents. And here our only exponent is this squared. So I'm going to do negative 3 squared. This means I take negative 3 times negative 3. So in this case, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And again, I'm going to write down the rest of the problem exactly as is. Okay. Now, since I've done my parentheses, I've done my exponents, I'm going to look for multiplication and division, and I'm going to do that from left to right. I notice a multiplication and a division. The division comes first, so I'm going to divide 12 divided by 6 next. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, and I'm going to write the rest of the problem down. 9 minus 2 times negative 4. Okay, I'm still not quite done with my multiplication and division because there's still this multiplication here. So I will solve that. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and I'm going to write down the rest. 9 minus negative 8. If you recall from before, this is the same thing as 9 plus 8, so my answer is 17. Okay. All right, we'll look at one more problem, and I tried to make this purposely about as complicated as you would ever see this year. If you want to try it on your own and see if you can get it before I even do it, this would be something that you could be proud of doing. Otherwise, if you don't feel quite ready for it, work it along with me. Okay, so I'm going to look for grouping symbols this time, and I'm going to show you that there are actually a lot of grouping symbols in this problem. Right here, I've got 3 minus 7. This entire bracket is a grouping symbol, and inside that bracket, there's even more of a grouping symbol. Okay. And then also these fraction bars above and below are also grouping symbols. Okay, so when I'm working with that, I do grouping symbols. You do it from the inside out and also left to right. But it would be important to do this negative 2 plus 3 here before you do the 6 minus anything. So negative 2 plus 3, that's 1. I'm going to rewrite this as 6 minus 1. That whole thing squared. And I'm also going to start solving my other grouping symbols from left to right, just so I don't have to fill out more than this slide. So negative 2, 3 minus 7 is negative 4. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to carry down everything I haven't carried down yet, plus the 4. And then minus, I'm going to solve what's on these grouping symbols as well. So on the top of this fraction, 4 plus 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 8. 2 times 2 times 2, just for a refresher. and 4 plus 8 is 12. So I'm going to put that on the numerator of that grouping symbol. And then in the denominator, 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too much to do at once. Going to my second step, you'll notice again, I still have some grouping symbols because I didn't take care of that one yet. So I'm going to do that. And I'll write 6 minus 1 is 5. And so I have 5 here squared. I'm going to start pulling everything else down. So negative 2 times negative 4 plus 4 times 5 squared minus 12 divided by negative 2. All right. Now I'm ready to do exponents. I've taken care of all those grouping symbols. I only got one exponent in here, and right now it's important to note that it's 5 being squared. You don't do 4 times 5 first, we do 5 squared first. So 5 squared is 25. And again, I'm bring everything else down. So negative 2 times negative 4 plus 4 times 25 minus 12 divided by negative 2. All right, I'm ready to multiply and divide, and I'm going to do that from left to right. And again, I'm kind of going to shortcut this a little bit. This is multiply and divide, multiply and divide, multiply and divide. So I'm going to do that in order from left to right, but sort of all in one step. So negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. 4 times 25 is 100. Minus 12 divided by negative 2, that's negative 6. And now I'm going to add and subtract left to right. So 8 plus 100, that's first. That's going to be 108. And then I have 108 minus negative 6. Remember, that's the same thing as 108 plus 6. And we get 114. Whew, that was a tough problem.